Hey, on the Marmy Rock Show now, we've got a good friend of the Marmy Rock Show. Phil Michaels from the great Philadelphia band Hammer Down joins us. Phil, welcome back to the show.
Always a pleasure, my friend. Thanks for having me on.
Hey, man, so kind of what prompted me to call you, I do like to have you on the show from time to time, but I can't begin to tell you how excited we were when we saw this November 14th show coming up with Heaven's Edge and Brittany Fox and you guys. So why don't you kind of go ahead and just tell us a little bit about, I kind of gave it away who's playing, but talk a little bit about the big show on November 14th.
Well, it's part and parcel. We're all good friends with Mark Evans, lead singer of Heaven's Edge. Matter of fact, his bass player Gigi, he and I were in a band together years ago. But as most people know, Heaven's Edge did a show similar to this a while back in Philly, and this time around, it was Mark's idea that he wanted to have his friends play the show as well. So he worked it out so that, Heaven's Edge and obviously Brittany Fox, they don't really need anybody else to sell tickets, but he wanted to have his friends on the show. And I remember I was driving down the road one day and Mark sent me a text and he said, "Hey, how would you feel about playing the TLA with us?" And I just wrote back, "Yes, just tell me what time to be there." He said, "Well, you want to check with the guys and make sure the date's good?" I said, "Anybody that can't play it just isn't doing the show." I said, "I'm doing it." I said, "I don't care if I got to do an acoustic set on the sidewalk. It's rainy afternoon. I'm there, man." So, it was Mark, again, it was Mark wanting to do something not only with his friends, but for his friends. And it's, I can't thank him enough, and I'm very humbled that he thought of us and wanted us on it. And like I said, to a man in my band, we were all like, yeah, so we're playing the TLA, and we haven't been there. We played there once a few years back, and it was, but it's nice to be going back again on this bill because it's just an action-packed kind of a thing. And like I said, you never say no to the TLA. And thank you, Mark.
And then Mark's band has made, I almost hate to call it a resurgence because they're such a good band, but it really has been a resurgence for those guys. I mean, once they hit, M3 and the Monster of the Rock, boy, the buzz has really gotten around that.
I think it's kind of cool for them. Ever since they took that trip across the Atlantic last year, Heaven's Edge, they've been kind of playing again more often, and I like it because I dig the band. And, like I said, to have this thing stopping back in Philly again and actually be on the bill, it's a beautiful thing.
And then tell us a little bit about Brittany Fox, man. It's such a big family up there with, I call them our Philadelphia rock family, man. Johnny D is banging the drums again for Brittany Fox. How'd that sound?
Yeah, well, I mean, these are bands that I all know, have known for a long time. And, when Mark first told me about the show, there was like two bands that he was looking at to have on the show, and then all of a sudden it was Brittany Fox. I said, "Man, you can't make it any more Philly than that, man." I mean, everyone on the bill has been in and around the Philly scene, playing all the clubs. We all go back to the Galaxy and the Empire and the Cell Block and all the great venues that we used to play. Sadly, some of which don't exist anymore, but that's what makes this even more better. Johnny D, I've known Johnny since I was 18. So we run into each other from time to time. We've been buddies for years, so it's going to be good to do a show with him. Matter of fact, the last time Hammer Down was at the TLA for the Forever Autumn show, Johnny was on that bill as well. So it's weird. It's like we're doing a show together every 3 years.
Yeah, man, and I remember that show well. That was such a special day, and in a way, it's almost like kind of a reunion. A lot of the same bands could be back at this show that were at the that benefit concert. So, hey, man, you guys are a band that have two incredible albums yourself. You got Spend It Like Money Out There and Strange on the Side, and they're both great albums. But I really feel like the band kind of took a big leap forward on Strange on the Side. Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, Hammer Down started out kind of like a lot of bands do. It was just a few friends jamming. At the time when Hammer Down got started, I'd been out of music for a while. I was trying to get my work scene together so I could earn a buck, and so I got together with a couple old friends, and it was kind of more of a by committee kind of thing. We were just kind of throwing it out there and see what stuck, and we eventually put a band together. We made Spend It Like Money. But, the sad thing about music sometimes is, the people you start out with, that's not who's there later. The lineup got changed. Our original drummer never played a show with us. And we started out playing some really small, out-of-the-way joints, and as time went on, it kind of chipped away at that lineup until what you see now has actually been together for quite some time. Probably since, with the exception of Chico joining the band, Kevin, Joe, Joey, and myself, we've been playing together since 2010.
Wow.
So I think a lot of it has to do with the fact, like, our old guitar player, when he quit the band, he was quitting not because he didn't like the band. He was leaving because he decided, he just wanted to hang it up. He was done with it, And we joke about it. We're still in touch. We're still very good friends. His name's Anthony Gelona, great guitar player. And not only, he kind of handed me the keys to Hammer Down. And he said, let me see what you do with it. And I remember the first time he came to see us play after Kevin had joined the band, he was very happy with the way Kevin played. He was a big fan, like, right away. But the cool thing about it is like, now that I kind of had the keys to the playhouse, I kind of just started making things the way I thought they would be most effective and most successful. I always wrote the songs, so that really wasn't an issue. But it's just, like, sometimes now I look back over Facebook and I see pictures from shows we did 5 years ago and how the band has evolved into what people see on stage now. And it really is, it's a labor of love, but it's a time thing. And if you're willing to put in the time and keep doing what you love, then eventually you may wind up with the band that you really want. And that's nothing against where Hammer Down started, but where it is now is a very nice place to be. And the guys in the band that I work with, they're the greatest guys ever. I can't say enough about them. It's their talent that makes my songs come to life.
You guys have been a very special band to us, and I will still always be eternally grateful for you guys for playing our MARR Rocks for MDA 2 benefit, one of our 3 benefit concerts, and just so thrilled when you guys did that. Let me ask you something about the cool albums Trains on the Side. I want to ask you about 2 songs. Tell me a little bit about Kerosene Blues, man. How did that one come together? That's actually my favorite tune on the record.
Actually, what's funny? Here's the funny thing that I always tell people when they ask me about songwriting. It's like, for me, I write a lot of songs and they come from all different directions. Some, for example, I just finished a new one and it was just a title that I thought of in my head that turned into a song. But with Kerosene Blues, I sat down on my couch one day and I pulled out my acoustic, and that opening riff was the first thing I played. I don't know why, I just did. And it's funny, you can play a chord a million times, but you hit it the right way at a certain time, and all of a sudden, like, things happen in your head, and next thing you know, you're writing stuff down. The funny thing about the song is, lyrically, it's actually about a guy that I used to know. He passed away, I don't know, it's got to be 12 years or so by now. He was an old friend of mine, and he had to say he drank a lot. We joke sometimes that we drink more than that. If we actually really did, I don't think I could function. But this friend of mine, he really drank a lot, and he loved drinking. That was his thing. He didn't care. Anyway, the point of it is, he used to make fun of people that were on drugs because drinking was legal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's kind of where the lyrics came from. One day, I came up with this riff, and I just found an old picture of he and I hanging out together, and it just kind of starts pouring out onto the paper. You're not sure where it's going at first, and before I knew it, I was kind of just thinking of him, and, that's like the line, I got no time for tweakers with their needles and their spoons, It's like, yeah, right. He was brutally against drugs. He thought people that were on drugs were losers. And, to each his own. But, I don't judge anybody because I think I've done it all at least once, but that was his thing. He was all about drinking. And I used to laugh at him sometimes because he would go on these long diatribes about it. And it's like he would hold court like the evils of drugs, but here, have another drink. And like I said, I think everything in moderation is fine, but it was my friendship with him years ago that kind of brought those lyrics, out of me. Some people thought it was autobiographical. It's like, no, it's really not. Because if I actually drank as much, like I said, as everyone thinks I do, then I probably would never leave my apartment or write another song ever again.
But I appreciate you giving me the story behind that, man. Hey, I want to ask you, before I let you go, you guys got another really cool show coming up at World Cafe Live, October 10th. That one was Mach 22.
Yeah, that club is funny, and it's become a very, it's become kind of a really nice little kind of home away from home for us. And that's only because years ago, when the band was in its early stages, I used to joke with the guys. I was like, and I think I posted something about it on Facebook. It's like, man, somebody was saying something. His friend just played World Cafe, and I was like, man, they would never have Hammer Down at World Cafe. It's like I'm not even going to bother going down that road. I'm not going to call nobody because I know they will. I just can't see them booking Hammer Down. Not that we're evil or anything. It's just that although their schedules are their shows are very varied in musical styles, I just for some reason just didn't see them booking us. And it just goes to show that how wrong you can be sometimes, because this will be our 6th appearance there. And we're I'm very proud of that fact. And, it was a good friend that got us in the door the first time around. And, it's, once you're in there and you prove you can put the people in there, then they want you to come back, and it's a nice thing. The great thing about playing at World Cafe is they treat you very well. And, they make the whole setup for you very equitable. And, it's one of those rare shows that you're probably getting paid.
Yeah, that's important these days, man, because that doesn't always happen.
Yeah, and that's why, people laugh at me all the time, because sometimes we take shows just because we like the venue and we want to play there.
Yeah.
And sometimes people say, the first thing out of their mouth, well, how much are you getting paid? I said, I don't know. Well, didn't you ask? I said, I never ask. I said, I'm playing. That's all I care about.
Yeah. Hey, man, and in full disclosure, too, man, I just want to let folks know you guys graciously donated your show to our benefit concert, as all the bands who ever play. And you have no idea, man. I think you do actually have an idea, but we appreciate it more than we could ever tell you. You and your band and the other bands helped us raise $4,000 for the Must Dystrophy Association. So we're eternally grateful for that.
Well, I can tell you that we're honored to be asked and happy to do it. I look at my life right now, and I feel very blessed most of the time. It's like as far as life goes, me and the guys in the band, yeah, we got it pretty okay. So if anytime we can use the band as a vehicle to help someone who needs help, we're happy to do it, because I look at it this way. I'll tell you a story real quick. When this whole show got announced at the TLA with Heaven's Edge and Brittany Fox and us and the Saints and all, I was contacted by like 7 or 8 fans. Now, I don't know these people personally. One of them I have met once a few years back. And they inboxed me on Facebook saying, Phil, you don't know how much I would love to come to this show, but I can't. And it's all because they have health problems. These aren't old people. These are people in their 30s and early 40s that just kind of gotta, they're playing the hand they got dealt. And I respect that, because they hang tough, and they do what they gotta do, but their physical condition literally keeps them from actually being able to go into a venue like the TLA and stay through a whole show like that. And, the first few came through, and I was like, man, that's a shame. By the time 7 of them came through, and they told me flat out they love the band. They follow our antics all over Facebook. They watch all the videos. They've bought our music on CD Baby and had it shipped to their house. And I've sent them some of them T-shirts and all when they ask me. And it's just it's times like that when you look at your life and you say, you know what? I get to go up on stage with a guitar, a microphone, a badass band, and play in front of all these people, and I'm physically fit to do that anytime I want. And yet there's people that love your band, and physically they aren't capable to actually come to your shows. And I'll tell you what, man, if that doesn't hit you where you live, so like I said, you know, whenever we have the opportunity to do any kind of a benefit that's going to, you know, we don't care how much it makes. We're not looking for money. We just want to come in and help. And if us being there gets $100 or $200 more dollars to the charity that needs it, we're more than happy to do it if we can.
Well, you did a great job for us, man, and as you well know, I've been a huge fan of your band since the first time we met you. I don't even remember
you
when
guys
the first
put us
time
on the map, man.
Oh, come on.
They always say, what's the key to success? I go, Mid-Atlantic Rock Reviews.
Wow, I'm gonna make a commercial out of that.
Nobody knew who the hell we were, and then we hear on Mid-Atlantic Rock Reviews, and all of a sudden, you know, I'm getting all these friends all over Ohio and all that, and yeah, you guys did a lot for us. So to have us do something in return for you, not only for you but charity as well, you know, it's a no-brainer, man. You got to give back sometime.
Hey, man. Well, thank you so much. Phil Michaels, everybody. Once again, the big show is at the TLA November the 14th. You got Heaven's Edge, Brittany Fox, Hammer Down. Of course, with Phil, the Electric Bow is taking the stage again, and Cyanide Saints. Phil, thanks so much for being here on the show again.
No problem. It's always a pleasure hanging out with you, my brother.